Howdy everyone. Well, I've got this T-handle in for the canopy jettison. Again, all I wanted to do was make provisions so that I can, if needed, I can remove the instrument panel. And like I said, with this handle being all one piece, you would have to crawl up underneath the instrument panel, underneath the sub panel, all the way underneath, so you can reach up from the bottom and get to this pin here, pull the pin out, and then you can pull the handle assembly out. So all I did was add this splice piece here. Now I just need to reach up underneath the instrument panel to get to this, and it's not much different. I mean, it's just a few inches forward of where you would normally have to disconnect it, but I think it would be easier because you're not in so deep, you're not in amongst the rudder pedals. You can pull either one of these clevis pins out, and then the assembly, actually you'd have to pull this one out, pull this pin out, and then the handle will pull through, and then you can pull the handle out of the instrument panel, and then you can take the panel off. And you can see I've also made use of the splice tube as a stop for the spring. And you'll also note that I mounted these purposely sideways rather than up and down, because again, with the canopy and everything in place, you'll be limited in room to get to the top, to get to these pins. Sideways, you can get to both sides of the pin without any problem. So that was kind of the thought process for that. You can see now with these pins fully engaged, meaning that this is not turned, with everything in alignment here, the pins are fully engaged into the hinges. There's no interference here. There's no interference in here with this bulkhead. And there's room behind a T-handle to get your fingers to make a good solid pull if you need it. Now, I don't plan on using this as an actual jettison. The only reason is, or the reason that I say that is, when this skin is in place, this gets riveted. And in these locations here where the canopy hinge is underneath this skin, Vans recommends that you cut a slot in the skin for both of these hinge locations, so that when you pull this handle and you pull these pins back out of the way, the front of the canopy can come up through the skin. Now, I didn't do that, and I don't plan on doing it. My logic is, at that point, if you have to jettison the canopy, there's probably going to be so much adrenaline that to knock these hinges through that little bit of aluminum skin probably won't be that big of a deal. You'll probably just bust this whole thing, peel this whole thing out of the way, and the pivot point will come through. I don't know. I pray that I'll never have to deal with that situation. This is mainly just for easy removal of the canopy, and that provision makes removing the instrument panel a little bit easier. So that is now complete. I'm not sure what I'm going to work on next, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes next, and I'll talk to you guys later. Howdy, everyone. I believe I left off talking about painting the engine, possibly. I don't really recall. It's been a little while since I've made a video. But as you can see, I have my parts back from the plastic bead blaster, and I've been plugging away at getting the various components washed really well with water, making sure all the oil passages are clean, make sure there isn't any leftover residue bead blasting material in any cracks, crevices, oil passages, things like that, making sure everything is dry and clean. So I've been doing a lot of masking and some spray painting, and that's what I'm working on now, is the masking of the cylinder, or the the engine block case halves. So what I'm doing now is I'm just using cardboard and tape, and I'm just using the cardboard and tape to mask off the larger areas of the case half. I have the bottom part, this bottom part of the case half is also done with cardboard and tape. And now I'm getting ready to tape off the areas where this actual cylinders mate to the block. These pads, these machined pads, are actually larger than the actual footprint of the cylinder base. So I've got a cylinder in place here, and I'm just going around it with a marker to mark off exactly what needs to be taped. If you tape off this whole machined area, you can see quite a bit of it is still exposed, even with the cylinder in place. So I'm just marking my lines with the cylinder base, and then I'll take it off and I'll tape up to that line, and everything else will get painted. So just a real quick catch-up video. That's all I've been doing for the last few days, is washing parts with water, drying parts, masking parts, and painting. So got a lot to do still. It's very tedious, but just like with any paint, the prep work is the most important, probably the hardest part of that prep. If you want your engine to look really super nice and detailed, a lot of that hard prep work is the masking. So time consuming, but hopefully in the end it will be well worth it. And as I continue through this and I get more stuff to show you, I'll come back and do some videotaping. All right, guys, hang in there, and I'll talk to you guys later. Howdy, everyone. Well, I don't have anything too exciting to share at the moment, other than I'm just continuing to mask and prep the various engine parts and painting. I've got the two case halves now done. Again, like I said, and I believe I said in my other video, that the biggest part of paint work is the preparation, and the masking is a huge part of that, and it is quite tedious. It takes quite a while to be sure that you've got everything that needs to be masked, properly masked. So it does take time. It's been a relatively slow process, but I am making progress, which is great. So these two case halves are done. I've got the accessory case I just got done painting it. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit before I start pulling all the masking off of it. And then next up will be either the sump or the cold air induction tubes. One of the two. But I don't know if I'll do any more today. I'll probably start on those tomorrow. My paint booth is nothing more than my garage. It's, of course, it's completely professional and state-of-the-art. That's a joke, obviously. It's I just have a couple of heaters out there to keep it warm enough to paint, and I'm just using rattle can engine paint. And here are the other couple of components that I still need to do. But some rattle can engine paint, a couple of heaters to keep the garage warm, a table to set the stuff on, and I just go at it. So nothing too exciting. More painting, more masking, more cleaning, making sure that all of the oil passages, threads, all that stuff needs to be absolutely clean. Again, tedious. So that's it. I'll continue to do some more painting, and the exciting stuff will be coming up here pretty soon when I start assembly. So until then, see you guys later.